Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Welcome into Simply the Bets, brought to you by the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. In just a minute, Aaron Oster will join us from out in Vegas. Then we will head into the Fanduel Sportsbook, catch up with our friend, Mr. Leon Twyman, see how the week went in the book. That is all on the way. As, still lots going on. Big bowl week, of course. Ravens-Steelers week, lots going on in the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Let's head out to Vegas. Joining us now, he is our friend from the Circa Sportsbook out in Las Vegas. He's Mr. Aaron Oster. What's going on, pal? How are you?
I'm doing well. Hope everybody had a good and hopefully profitable weekend, holiday weekend here.
I'll settle for one of those. It was a good weekend. I don't know. Actually, it was a fairly mixed bag for me this week. It wasn't a bad week necessarily. Just a couple of things. Like, for example, you got the Ravens last week at -7.
Yes.
I had them at -7.5.
Ooh.
And you know what would have been really nice is if I had known that they were going to insanely go for 2 at a point where they didn't need to go for 2 whatsoever, and that they were going to get it. Because I might have taken the Ravens at that point. Instead, I took the Falcons at 7.5. And I got bit by an unnecessary 2-point conversion that proved to be the difference in missing out on a cover. Womp womp. But you got that one as your local play last week. So good on you for that. You also had your loser right, as the Titans not only did not cover, they lost outright to the Texans. You did lose your love, and I always feel like that kind of counts for 2. Whenever you lose a love bet,
double overtime bit me.
Yeah, not a good place to be. Although it wasn't an under. That, of course, everybody knows that's a terrible thing to happen in an under bet. It was
of course under, but also underdogs. It's rough when you go to double overtime with an underdog.
That is fair. It is not. It is, I believe, Van Pelt also says, not a friend to the under or the underdog better. Whenever he does bad beats, yes, that is the case. As Providence ended up winning 103-98. It has been pointed out to me a couple of things. One, you were an under 5.5 wins better for the Panthers back on October 4th.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Not so
Dagger.
great. Not so great.
Nope.
6-9 now on the year. Also, you told everybody not to bet the Chargers to make the playoffs on November 1st. And they're in the playoffs. So
I got a feeling a few of those playoff bets aren't gonna go well once we get to
great. Griffin is really trying to rub it in, by the way, because he does the research on this every week.
Yeah.
And he's trying to make you feel particularly worse. You played at one point Cam Akers as comeback player of the year in mid-May.
I did do that.
A couple of touchdowns on Christmas. Yeah, I don't think that one's going to hit either, Griffin. I don't think that one's going to end up being a winner. I think that one's going to.
Griffin's being a Grinch.
Yeah,
today,
kind of being a Grinch on this. Kind of being a Grinch. He had a lot of time when he wasn't booking guests this morning, so he decided that he was going to go in on you. David Montgomery under 825.5 rushing yards. He's at 756 with 2 games left. So
that one.
Great.
It looked good early on, and then he started to come on late.
Yeah.
But
all right.
You never know.
Let's make some bets this week. 5 L's of sports betting: a local, a long-term, a long shot, a loser, and a lovable bet for the week. Where are we starting locally?
I was looking around. I don't particularly love the Ravens game, but quite frankly, it's basically the only local game in town. I looked at the Maryland Bowl game and don't really love the numbers on that one. So, look, we're just going to kind of go with all reliable here on Sunday Night Football.
Betting the under?
Betting the under. The last game between these two teams had 30 points. Only one Steelers game in the past 4 has gone over 35, and only one Ravens game in the past 6 has gone over 35. Look, I know it's obvious. I know it's a crazy low number, but these things are happening for a reason. So, look, until it goes the other way, why not just keep following the trend?
I mean, I'm with you. Like, the I guess there's some world in which Lamar Jackson returns on Sunday and Lamar Jackson's it up, but short of that.
Sure, but like if Lamar Jackson's it up, like that could still be a
I know
24-10 game.
Run heavy. I hear you. I completely get it. That's the only scenario by which I see this being an issue is the scenario where NBC only picked this game because they have some inside information that Lamar Jackson's going to play and. Because otherwise, my God, the rest of the country tuning in for Tyler Huntley versus Kenny Pickett on Sunday night is
and to be fair, I do think that they expect him to play because otherwise, yes, it is a little bit crazy to flex this game.
I tried to dive in on that a little bit this week. It also has as much to do with there not being good options. Like they could not.
Well, that's fair.
Everybody keeps bringing up Packers Vikings. CBS protected Packers Vikings. They didn't get the opportunity to try to get Packers Vikings. And with the Monday night game actually being good this week, unlike every other week this season, all of a sudden,
time ever.
the two good games that you would want for Sunday Night Football are off the table. And you're left with a bunch of, my understanding, I don't think I said this earlier when we were talking about, by the way, I was told by someone who would know that if the Raiders had beaten the Steelers on Saturday night, Raiders-49ers would have been the Sunday Night Football game. But because Raiders...
That would have been a funny bit if they flexed out the Raiders the week before only to flex them back in.
But they would have still been alive, right? Like
No. I get every reason. It's just that's just kind of where we are right now.
The problem was with the Raiders losing and being eliminated from the playoffs. There is still, by the way, a scenario where the Steelers are eliminated from the playoffs by the time we get to Sunday night. But they're not eliminated yet. And so it was an opportunity to move a game into the Sunday night that still had implications, at least at the moment, for both teams. However, the Dolphins can ruin that, and there could be no implications for the Steelers come Sunday night. But it really was about just the lack of better options for the most part that were available. Anyway, the moral of the story being I agree with you. That's what we were getting to. Next, let's go long-term, a futures bet that you like this week.
I don't do this too often, but I'm going to the NHL for this bet.
That is weird.
I think it's a little weird, but I think Fanduel has the wrong team favored in a division race. In the Central, it does seem like it's going to come down to a two-team race between the Avalanche and the Stars, and I think Avalanche are honestly the wrong favorites, and largely due to their name and the initial money brought in. Stars are plus 170 right now, and that's just about the best number you can find in any major book. In fact, most books at this point do have the Stars as the favorite. So I do expect this to move soon, and I think you can get in at a good number. So take the Stars to win the Central at plus 170.
I cannot pretend as though I know anything about this. Why are we so confident about this?
The Stars actually, they were a disappointing team last year, and there was kind of initial expectations. It kind of repeat that. But, however, they've kind of gone back to what people thought they were going to be at the beginning of last season, a really well-rounded team. And the Avalanche have actually disappointed a little bit. Some of their departures have hurt a little bit more. But as much as anything, this is a numbers play. I'm looking at the Sportsbook books around. I'm realizing there's some movement at other books that there hasn't been at Fanduel and that I expect to come for Fanduel. So as much as anything, this is a numbers move. This is kind of there are people smarter than me out there, and I'm looking at that, and for whatever reason, whether it's money brought in, initially they have a little bit more money on the Avalanche. They just haven't moved that yet, but I do expect that to move. So I kind of like money when I expect it to move.
I have to acknowledge, I don't know a damn thing about this. The only thing I know is that the Avalanche are insanely loaded, and I am to understand are getting Nathan McKinnon back in the next couple of days. I don't like this bet at all. This is, and I know nothing about this. I couldn't name a player on the Stars, but I do know the Avalanche, and I've paid a lot of attention to the Avalanche over the last couple of years because they're bonkers loaded. They were set up not just to be able to dethrone the Lightning, but really to be a team that could be talking about winning multiple cups over the span of about 8 years. That's the extent of the knowledge that I have. Based on that, I wouldn't make this bet. But that being said, I have to admit, I don't know a damn thing about the Stars. Not one thing. I couldn't tell you. I can tell you that they play in Dallas. I can tell you they used to be the Minnesota North Stars. I can tell you that they Mike Modano played there once upon a time. End of list.
There you go.
End of list. That's what I've got for you. Long shot. Give me the underdog that you like for this week.
You know what? There's one of those FanDuel weekly specials I like this week. It's a nice, tasty plus 950 plays, and it's a single game prop parlay. In the Bears-Lions game, Justin Fields to have 100 rushing yards and Amon-Ra St. Brown to have 100 receiving yards. Last time the Lions faced the Bears, both of these bets hit, with Fields getting 147 yards rushing and Amon-Ra St. Brown getting 119 yards receiving. Is this a likely play? No, Fields hasn't hit 100 yards rushing in a few games here. He has come close. He had a 95-yard game a couple weeks ago. But, 100 is a big number. However, at plus 950 at a 10 point whatever percent chance to hit, I think this could be a definite hit. I'll take it at plus 950.
Well, add in the fact that it's an indoor game, right? Like that you're no longer dealing with the weather being a factor. Like it's ideal conditions for Justin Fields to run. I guess there's some scenario where like the Bears, knowing that their season's been over for a little while, are just sort of saying like, "Hey, dude, don't
dial it back.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
don't get hurt.
Let's not go crazy here." Like that's definitely a possibility that's at play when you look at something like this. But getting back inside and having a fast track in Detroit, I don't know. I'm with you. It's worth a couple of shekels, with the odds being what they are for it. I don't hate that. Aaron Oster is with us from the Circa out in Vegas as we're going over our 5 L's for sports betting this week. Let's just say don't do this. Do not do anything you want. A lot of people talk about their regrets at the end of the year. If you make this bet, it will be a regret because it is a loser.
When you're talking about bowl season, we've talked about this before. You have to be an armchair psychologist to really bet bowl games well. Obviously, it's been all over the place, but you do try to find those teams that you can fade because you just don't think they're going to be all that into the game. And coming up here in one of the New Year's 6 games in the Cotton Bowl, I don't know what to expect from USC at all. Right now, they are the favorites. That number has dropped considerably, though. They're only barely a favorite now at minus 1.5. And some people are going to look at that and say, look, USC against Tulane, the Heisman Trophy winner, and I only have to lay 1.5. I'm all over that. And I don't know about that one. Already they have 2 linemen out, plus stud wide receiver Jordan Addison. There's reason to believe more might not end up playing, and who knows what sort of chain reaction that could cause if, let's say, one more lineman decides, I can't play this game. Then who knows what that means for Caleb Williams, et cetera, et cetera. And then you just have what I was saying, that this letdown spot. This isn't where USC wanted to be. They had visions of being in the college football playoff this weekend. And I try to avoid playing these types of favorites. I actually a couple weeks ago, did end up playing Tulane at +3. I don't know if I would necessarily run out and say, go play Tulane right now, but I can say don't play USC. So that's why that USC minus 1.5 is my loser.
All right. I get it. I don't think I would make it a loser. I can certainly get why I'd be apprehensive about making the bet, but calling it a loser, all it takes is for him to open things up, be having fun, and then just sort of saying, yeah, by the way, we're USC. Like, we're let's just go out here and win by 50. And I don't know, man. I would avoid this one. I don't think I would say it's a loser bet, but I hear you. And then give me the one that you love. Give me the one that you say, go make it immediately. Cancel all of your plans to see family this week and get to the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel and make this bet right now.
Okay, so we're going back to bowl games here, and I'm looking at the Holiday Bowl on Wednesday when North Carolina is facing Oregon. The total in this game is completely ludicrous. It's 75. It started around 70. It's only gone up. And you know what?
It has drifted 74.5 for the record.
Okay, 74.5. So 74.5 right now. But you know what? Give me the over in the game. This is going to be nothing but offense. You have 2 top 15 offenses in the country. You have 2 pretty dreadful defenses, including North Carolina's, which is outside of the top 100. Plus, you have defensive players on both teams more than the offensive players. That's the funny thing about this game. You had almost the entire offenses stay intact for both teams, but both defenses got decimated by transfer and draft announcements. So you have great offenses, terrible defenses. You have tempo here. I expect this to be an absolute track meet. So, yeah, give me over 74.5 in the Holiday Bowl.
All right. And Bo Nix, of course, is playing because he's back for another year. And
Yep, both starting quarterbacks playing.
Yeah, it's true. It's one of the rare bowl matchups where you got two guys that are well thought of quarterbacks that are both playing in the game. That is a very fair point. Drake May is also playing for Carolina, so that's interesting. That's a huge number. It's
a crazy huge number, but it's there for a reason.
Are they playing it in the baseball stadium?
I believe that's the case.
I don't know why, but I always get a little bit scared about games that are being played in odd stadiums. I know there might be nothing to it, right? But there's just something about it doesn't look right. I don't know what it is. It scares me off of betting in those types of games. And I thought they were sticking out in the baseball because I thought there was some debate about whether they'd move it into San Diego State's new stadium, but
yeah, it does look like it is at Petco.
I don't know how to explain this, and there might be nothing to it whatsoever. Look, there's just something about
everyone has their system.
Football games that are played in baseball stadiums that I just try to tend to avoid because it's a goof. You know how we talk about basketball games played in domes where the symmetry was wrong for shooting. I'm telling you,
the eyesight.
Right
so
now, they've tried
reasons to avoid those.
They've tried to change that a little bit over the years by putting the court in the center of the stadium, and so you just have most people that can't even see the court when they go to the game. But there's just something about the weirdness of playing a game in a stadium that's not fully right, and some of them you have both teams on the same sideline. It's weird. It's weird, and I just sort of say, nope, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to do this. I can bet on something else. All right, tell everybody about the Circa.
Obviously, if you're in Maryland, you wanted to go Maryland Live, check out the Fanduel Sportsbook there. But if you are in Vegas, you are a sports fan, you got to make your way out to Circa. We have the world's largest sportsbook. We have the famous Stadium Swim, 6 screens, year-round heated pools. So even if you want to come out in January and watch some NFL playoffs in the pool, it's going to feel really good out there. We have some big events, obviously, Super Bowl, NFL playoffs, March Madness, baseball opening day we're making a big deal about. So come on out, check it out at the Circa.
Very good. At the Oster on Twitter is how you follow him. Happy New Year, my friend. We will talk to you next Tuesday, all right?
Happy New Year, everybody.
That's Aaron Oster from the Circa in Vegas. When we come back in, we will head to the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, catch up with our guy Leon Twyman. That's next. This is Simply the Bets.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
What's up, everyone? This is Tyus Bowser, and I'm excited to tell you that I'm back for Season 2 of the Tyus Bowser Show in partnership with PressBox and Great H Memorabilia. Join us on Tuesday nights throughout the season as I'll be heading all over town with my special guests. And of course, our co-hosts, Glenn and Rita. Or is it Rita and Glenn? What is it? I look forward to meeting you guys and talking a little bit about football and a lot about life. And if you happen to miss the show, you can now catch a replay Friday nights on 105.7 The Fan. Get all of your details for the Tyus Bowser Show right now at PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser.
The next Tyus Bowser Show is Tuesday, January 3rd at Guilford Hall Brewery, 1611 Guilford Avenue in Station North. It's brought to you by Maryland Vascular Specialists and the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets every Tuesday morning at 11:40. Fanduel Sportsbook GM Leon Twyman and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and offer you a few winners. And every other Thursday at 11:40, tune in for Weekend at Bookies as Andrew Stecca and Alloy Sports' Brad Kronthal help make you some money for the weekend. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday. Brought to you by the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
The weather outside is really unpleasant, so it's time to warm up with some comfort classics this winter at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. Try the Twisted Ribs and Wings combo. It's 2 full pounds of meat, the mac and cheese bites, Mr. Richards meatloaf, the citrus salmon, the winter spinach salad, and for dessert, here's internet radio personality Griffin Bass to tell you about the bourbon butter cake.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Pair it with a blood orange bourbon cider or a devil's backbone cranberry smash. Place your order now at glorydaysgrill.com. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
Check out Jeremy Kahn's daily picks at PressBoxOnline.com as he tries to find you daily winners. And speaking of winners, here's a man who once won a media curling contest, and I don't think anything else. He's Glenn Clark.
All right, back in here on Simply the Bets, brought to you by the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. Maryland is bowl season in full swing. Not only Maryland's bowl game on Friday, but also, of course, the championship, the college football playoff semifinals are on Saturday with Michigan, TCU, and Georgia, Ohio State. Joining us now to talk more about what's going on in the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, he is the general manager, Mr. Leon Twyman, and he's back with us here on Simply the Bets. Leon, Happy New Year, my friend. Appreciate you as always. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Yeah, no worries, man. Happy New Year.
How was the holiday weekend for the book?
Well, I can tell you everyone had a good holiday because the book took a beating.
Ooh, my. What was the problem?
It's pretty much just everything.
Okay.
we got hit from just all around. It was just absolutely crazy.
So I think typically you tell me that when the Cowboys and Ravens cover, it's problematic, and both of those things obviously happened this weekend.
That definitely happened. But we just took, I'm talking just beatings just all over the place, just NBA, college basketball, NFL, just all over.
Can you tell me about, I saw a lot of people, there was I guess Devin Booker got hurt, obviously, in the Suns game on Christmas. I saw a lot of talk on social media about when you void bets, when you don't void bets. Is there anything I know it's not your decision. I know you have nothing to do with this. But can you tell us anything about like how that works with FanDuel and deciding how they go about handling props when a player gets hurt?
So it's really hard to explain that because it doesn't happen in retail ever. It's usually always online. So it's really hard to really decipher like when they decide to, because from my initial reading, there was nothing that was going to be done about that. But then I saw later in the evening yesterday that they actually were refunding those bets for Devin Booker.
Really? Maybe it's just like you get a bunch of people together and beg on Twitter, and then maybe it can work that way. Something like that. I get that it's a very difficult thing because now everybody wants you to like refund every bet that they make. You're like,
right.
Well, how about mine? Can I get some action on that? I might have won had this thing not. It is a very, very difficult thing. Were there any particularly big winners from this past weekend?
Yeah, so last night we actually had someone win $86,000 off the Chargers game, but they did put down a pretty hefty chunk. They put down $40,000. So we had that. We had
$40,000.
Yeah.
Jeez.
We had a $10,000 parlay turn into $50,000. We had a couple $9,000 parlays that turned into a little over $15,000 each.
Man.
I think the biggest one I saw was $600 turned into $7,000.
All right, that's not a bad way of That's not a bad way to spend $600 and making it $7,000. Is it still? I feel like you always tell me that like the basketball player props are the biggest hits when it comes to parlays. Is that still the case?
Yeah, it still is. It's crazy.
I got it.
I never hit it. I never have any luck with them. Like, I just don't understand it sometimes.
I got to start swimming in those waters somehow. I got to go just like camp out at the FanDuel Sportsbook and find somebody who's good at it and just sort of start offering to pay them a little bit to help me out. Yeah, it's always, I always look at those numbers and I'm like, you need all of these things to happen? I get scared off by it whenever that goes on. And I'm like, I don't think I can do it. I think I'm going to have to bail. I don't know. It's very difficult for me. Leon Twyman is the general manager of the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. So obviously a big weekend ahead. I mentioned earlier, not just, of course, Ravens-Steelers on Sunday night, but you get college football action and the semifinals on Saturday. I would imagine probably a big crowd that's going to be there for that.
Oh yeah, definitely. It'll be really big in here. So definitely looking forward to this weekend, especially with New Year's Eve coming up. I mean, it's just crazy in live casino in general,
sure.
Especially on that day. So it's just going to drag so much more traffic into the sports book once everyone comes in and they see just how great the area really is.
That's a great point. I don't even know if there are rooms left, but it would seem like a great way to spend New Year's Eve. Just go ahead and get a room at Live Casino and Hotel and then go watch football and bet on football throughout the day in the FanDuel Sportsbook. And after you've imbibed a little, you don't have to go anywhere. You can just stay right there for the evening, and maybe there'll be things that like the missus might enjoy while you're watching football all day. There might be some, entertainment for her in the process. And then I know right after that, like after this weekend, I was just looking ahead. Gervonta Davis is fighting literally next weekend. I would start making plans, and maybe events at sportssocialmd.com might be a good way for people to start thinking about as we get into January how they're going to spend the first Saturday night of January.
Yeah, definitely, because as you know, with him being a local, like it's going to be like their own Super Bowl in here, so it's just going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, Gervonta Davis fighting. Actually, the fight is in D.C., but if you're not going down, the best place to watch and bet on the fight, Davis Garcia, will be the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. And start thinking about it now, reserving your spot, table, group of chairs. Avoid buying a pay-per-view. Just come in, hang out, watch, bet, come out on top, win some money for the fights. What else is going on this week? What promotions continue in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel?
So we still have our Super Bowl promo, and from the last time I looked, it looks like pretty much everyone is still eligible as far as teams. I think, the Bills are plus 350. So as long as you get odds plus 300 or higher, place $25 wager, you are entering into a chance to win 2 Super Bowl tickets to Arizona. So we have that going on. And then we also have 2 other promos if you have not signed up for online yet. So if you sign up through our MD Live promo code, you get actually $1,000 up to $1,000 in no sweat bets for signing up with the online app.
So the way that, let me make sure I have this right. You could, if you use that code and you haven't signed up yet, you could put in a $1,000 deposit and make a $1,000 bet on anything. And if your bet misses, you're getting $1,000 worth of free bets back.
That is correct.
Man, I want to make sure I have that right. I believe, because I saw our friend Sue doing a video for it, I believe it has to be before. It's not, you can't use it on an in-game bet. I think it has to be a bet that you make before a game begins in order to take advantage of it. But still, seems like a pretty good offer to me. Anything else that we need to know about?
So just looking ahead into January, we're actually going to have a nice special celebrity guest appearance in the sports and social area. Going to be January 22nd. It's going to be our Baltimore favorite, Ed Reed.
Wow, January 22nd. Ed Reed will be hanging out. Is it for a game? Is it for like a Q&A? What's going on?
Yeah, so he's going to basically be hanging out and watching games with our guests. You have to actually book the booths or the tables in order to hang out with Ed Reed.
Okay.
And those prices, they have not been set 100% yet.
Okay.
But once they do come out, I will definitely keep you informed on that.
Please.
But yes, you will have to reserve a spot.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That is very cool. January 22nd, into the playoffs, a chance to come hang out, watch the games with Ed Reed in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. That is a big deal. All right, Leon, appreciate you, man. Happy New Year to you. Enjoy the week. We will talk to you again next Tuesday, all right?
All right, sounds good. Have a good one.
Thanks, buddy. Leon Twyman, the general manager of the FanDuel Sportsbook. there at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. How about that? Ed Reed coming to hang out and watch games on January 22nd. That is dope. You will want to make sure that you are there for that, and we will get you more of those details here in the coming weeks. We wrap up today's show. Griffin offering us the tidbit of the week, just some interesting things from a holiday weekend of betting that he wanted to pass along. What you got for us?
Yesterday, so maybe this is a new angle that we got to make sure we use next year, or I guess next World Cup, but the Premier League overs went 7-0 yesterday on boxing. So maybe whether it's a boxing
normally
day angle
the World
the
Cup
international
is
break.
played in the summer and not
That's a good
in the
point.
middle
Good
of
point.
Premier League season. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be something that we're going to
Maybe
be
it's a
able to
Boxing Day thing. Either way, overs were big yesterday
How about that?
in the PL. An exact score in the Vikings-Giants game. They really needed that Greg Joseph 60-yarder. 27-24 Vikings. It was 49-1, and they put $200.64 on it to win $10K. On a Vikings-Giants exact score.
Say that one more. They put in
$200.64.
I don't ever get these. It just feels like it was everything that was left in their account. Like, this is it. Let's just throw it all at this one thing and see what happens.
Trevor Lawrence first touchdown, 22-1, $150. Easy $3,500.
Okay.
Someone had they put $360,000 on the Jets money line on Thursday Night Football, where they lost to the Jags. So getting rid of just tossing 360 out.
Yuck.
Griffin's gratuitous grouping hit. However, nobody knew because I forgot to tweet it out after the show.
Well, I mean, people that listen to the show
Yeah.
would have known.
I was very disappointed in myself that I didn't get to share that out. But yeah, Erling Haaland, his goal, Maryland minus 22.5.
Normally we recap that on the next weekend at bookies is normally the way that we go about
Just a
doing
big
that.
tidbit. People were talking about it.
There was a lot. No, they weren't because you didn't tweet about it.
NBA parlay, a lot of big NBA parlays. As I guess Leon which is probably what Leon was talking about because I had several that I could probably bring up. This one was a 15-legger, 400-1 NBA parlay that hit last night it was just across all the games. They put $3 and they won $1,200.
Did it involve the Detroit Clippers thing? Because that was insane.
Oh yeah, they didn't, not that exactly, but yeah, they had Killian Hayes on it. They had some some Pistons and some.
I don't know if any of it involved
Clippers
the game going to
players.
overtime that they were
Yeah.
had their ass saved. The Clippers down by 14 with 3 minutes to play. Force overtime and win in Detroit. Wild.
Yep. Someone had. I think the stat was teams were like 2 and 1,200 since 1996.
Oh, I think it was worse than that. I think it was like 2 and 12,000 or something.
Oh, was it?
I think it was.
Stat?
Yeah, I think it was completely bonkers.
And so somebody had a bad beat because of that. They had Bojan Bogdanovic 20+, Jaden Ivey 15+, Killian Hayes 10+, Jaden Ivey 1+ threes. And they needed Bojan to hit 2 threes. He went 1 for 6 from 3, including 0 for 3 in the fourth quarter and overtime for the Pistons.
Rough.
Yeah. Fanduel boosted Austin Eckler and Deion Jackson to be anytime touchdown scorers. Deion Jackson played 1 snap.
Yeah, that was rough. Didn't they do a boost on Justin Herbert passing yards as well?
Yeah, that one hit, I think,
Okay.
because it was 200 yards.
Okay,
All
right.
I did have somebody that missed out because they had Chargers minus 4.5. They had the under. They had an Eckler touchdown. They had a Foles interception. They needed just 15 more yards from Herbert and 1 more completion because they had 25 completions for 250. He had 24 completions for 235 yards.
Rough way to go.
Yes. Let's see. I had one. This was a World Cup one that I missed last week, but it was Messi and Mbappe to score, and then Argentina to win in penalties.
Oh man!
Parlay those 3, 82-1, $5, $400.
That's a good way of going about doing it.
And then we had a nice cash out here for you. We had George Kittle 2+ touchdowns plus 2,000. That hit. Devontae Smith 2+ touchdowns plus 1,600, and then that one hit. And they needed Jalen Waddle to score 2+ touchdowns on Christmas Day. He scored 1, but they cashed out beforehand. It would have so they put $2.50. Would have paid out $7.5K.
Yeah.
But they cashed out for $700.
That's the best. That is the best feeling you could ever possibly have. God, stealing money. And
then Eastern Illinois, they knocked off Iowa last week. Someone had a $100 ticket on EIU plus 4,000 money line. So they made $4,000 off of
not bad.
Eastern Illinois upset.
Not bad. All right, very good. Thanks to Aaron Oster. Thanks to Leon Twyman. No weekend at Bookies this week. We'll be back next week for the first weekend at Bookies of 2023. And we will see you next Tuesday for the next Simply the Bets. Get to the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Get all your bets in this week. This has been Simply the Bets. May the odds be ever in your favor.